Welcome back to Black and Blue Garage. It is raining outside. That is my favorite weather. We are working on the transfer case of this Jeep Comanche. Now, if you remember from a couple of weeks ago, I built these shelves and I mentioned using this middle shelf here as a workspace. So this middle shelf here has this wire grate on it, and that's what the Husky shelves are using for the actual shelf material. And what I've done is I put this concrete mixing tray or mortar mixing tray underneath it to catch any fluids. That way, when I tear this transfer case apart, all the fluids can pass through the shelf and down into the mixing tray, and I won't have any spills. It might splash a little bit, but I won't have a bunch of oil draining down on the floor. FM Jeeping has already done a recent video of how to tear this exact same transfer case apart. So I'm not going to go over like the how-tos and how-dos of it. If you want to see how to tear one of these apart, you can go ahead and go to his channel. I will put a link to his video in the description below. Now that my parts are all cleaned up, in this box is my Tom Woods SYE kit. Comes with this output shaft, and it comes with this flange and seal, and it comes with some hardware. But then if you like, we could look at these two output shafts next to each other. You're basically going from this slip joint here to a yoke that's going to be bolted to the end of this. Alright, so to lubricate these parts as I put them together, I do have grease for the bearings if I need it, but we should be okay with just taking some steering fluid, which is the same as automatic transmission fluid, putting some in this little container, and then using a small brush to lubricate all the parts. Now I just have to remember how this thing goes together. It's just a big puzzle, right? I'm pretty sure this went on like that. Just like that. Then this goes on over that. This piece is a little bit complicated because it goes on just like this, but you have these little retainer clips that kind of nest inside like this. So this gear here is a synchronizer that moves back and forth on this gear, and there's supposed to be little retaining clips in here. The easiest way that I've found to put those together is to get one of the spring that went in there. That little piece that sticks out goes out one of these gaps, and then just put the rest of the spring into the gear and just rest it right there. And then what you want to do is, while holding the spring in with your thumb, catch that little piece with that little retainer, kind of push it down in there like that. The rest of these, both of those springs have to be on the inside of those edges there. So what you want to do is take your screwdriver, I'm bringing the spring in a little bit, dropping this retainer in, and then letting go, and that spring will catch that retainer. Now these are locked in there on one side, and they can move back and forth. So you want to pull those up like this, and then with your second spring, we'll put it on this one and go the opposite way. You catch that gap inside that one, and then just work it in there, catch it in there like that. That's how you install your synchronizing retaining buttons, whatever they're called. If you know what those are called, let me know in the comments. This brass collar, which is the synchronizer, has to fit with these grooves right here. Make sure everything turns. Now we can put our synchronizer back on. So basically, when it's like this, you're in full-wheel drive. The shift fork pulls this synchronizer gear up, and now you're in two-wheel drive. So there is a clip that goes right there. I should have went and bought the tool for this. There is a tool that you're supposed to use for this, and I swear that I have it, but I left it on my service truck because I am a fool. There we go. Smacking that with a hammer. Make sure it's seated. A little bit of cough syrup right here and right here. So I'm not lubricating this because I think that it's going to be damaged if I spin it for the first time and there's no oil. I'm lubricating it because I just degreased everything and I don't want this to rust. So now we could take this output shaft. I kind of want to put the nut on the ends just so that the threads are protected. And we'll set that aside so it can drip down into the drain pan that I have underneath. Sit in there, yes. Well, this gear sets down in there just like that. Kind of got to put these two together, kind of work this into there like there. Move this back out of there like that. There we go. Okay. Now this piece will go right here, but we've got to set it in there with this shaft. In order to do that, the chain has to be on it, and we got to set the shaft, this steel, and this gear at the same time. I'm going to take these wear pieces, put them back on this gear now that it's all clean. Next time I take this apart, it will be to rebuild it, and I'll have all new parts and pieces to go in here. One more dousing of strawberry syrup just to keep from rusting. Put this on there and set them both back down. Now, I was able to de-rust this chain, although it is kind of ugly. You might be able to see that right there. But I was able to free up all these links, and what I'm going to do is paint it with a little bit of Robitussin, just to prevent all the rusting that is inevitable if I don't. Put this on here, and I hate when it's oily, just like that, and set it there for now. But this is the part of the procedure where you need like 3 hands to do this, because we're going to hold this up with one hand and we're going to put this gear in this chain and then lower all these pieces together. You get enough play in the chain. Doesn't seem like the chain is too stretched out. Everything is perfectly seated into there. If you remember, these rings go right there. So you got to be careful how much RTV you put, because that'll end up in your pickup, and if it's too much, it'll end up being restricted for how much oil it can pick up, and you'll end up with an under lubricated transfer case, and that's no good for anyone. It doesn't bind anymore, which was my original complaint for this. Okay, we're going to use the spring that goes right here that helps push this shift fork toward the front of the transfer case. This oil pump kind of just sits right on the outside of this, but this pickup has a little notch out of here where it kind of fits inside right there. So once you have that together, then we can flip this over. Now we've got to get this shaft in there. We've got to get this bearing to fall in there, and everything will come down. Now, oh, there we go. So this is what I would like to call a dry fit, and the reason that I say that is because this has to come back off so that we can put a bead of silicone, but not too much, because we don't want it inside of the transfer case. And you don't have to put like an incredible amount of silicone on this. So you're going to squeeze it all out anyway. Literally, that's all the silicone you need. If you have any gaps, you can kind of go over it with your thumb. But if you put a ton of silicone like people do, then it'll end up just squeezing out. And if you're putting silicone on a gasket and you put too much, you could actually push the gasket out of the gap that you're trying to put together. Get the shift fork in the hole, and then get our bearing to go back in. And there we have it. Now we can get some bolts in there. All right, now we can torque these later, but the reason that we're just snugging this down is because we want all the silicone to flatten out, and it'll actually form the gasket with a little bit of depth in the gasket itself. And then when that dries, and then we snug it down, then it'll actually be a worthy gasket and not just be a really thin piece that you have to clean off later. Just trust me, it'll seal better. Let's just leave it at that. Now I'm ready to put these snap rings on. That tool, I believe, is called a external snap ring plier, and it basically does the same exact thing that I'm doing with this, but it just makes it so much easier. We got this toner ring, put that on. Yeah, all right. Unlike the bolts that I mentioned earlier, these holes go all the way through into the case, and so you definitely have to put silicone on these bolts. So I'm just gonna make sure that they're dry. If you don't put silicone on them, I don't care how tight they are, they will leak. It's just because they will. You can see how there's an open galley right here, because oil needs to get from this pin here into here and back into where the gears are. So we're just going to go around this part and connect it down to there. That way it's all sealed. Now we can just place this right onto here. Just like that. And you want to use a bit of silicone, and just like you would put thread locker on it. This is the Tom Wood seal that goes on the end of here. I'm gonna have to go and torque everything, but that's the difference right there. You've got this tail cone, and if anybody needs this, let me know, because from time to time people do need them. That's the difference in length, and I'll be able to put a much better drive shaft, a much stronger drive shaft, definitely a stronger joint right there, some 1350s, and there it is. Look at that, no more binding. Everything is just dandy now. Must have been just that chain that I fixed. We'll go down one. That's neutral. So now we've got nothing connected. My planetary spins. This spins by itself and this spins by itself, so that's neutral. And then the next one should be two-wheel drive. And then we've got four-wheel drive low. Might have that backwards, and everything is the same. So that's two-wheel drive high, which means this should be two-wheel drive low. That's low gear. But that's great. Everything is spinning together just like it's supposed to. Put that in neutral so that we can spin everything. This plug here is for a four-wheel drive indicator. In a Chevy, that would have sent power to your front axle actuator so that it can lock the front axle. I've got lockouts, so this for me is just a place to either plug this hole, or I could put a sensor or a light somewhere that tells me when I'm in four-wheel drive. This sensor is the speed sensor gear that we put in here, the speed gear with the two C-clips on either side. This is gonna pick up speed from that and send it to the ECMs. So I had fun putting this thing together. If you found this video fun, informative, entertaining, or whatever, and you like watching videos of this Jeep, please like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, give me lots of comments, and share this video with someone that you love. And once you've done all that, thanks for watching, God bless, and see you next weekend. It's 100% not perfect.